Hello everybody and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about another Fallout New Vegas trait, and one that has popped up quite a few times, and I have gotten quite a few questions about this one, more so than something like Four Eyes, which we talked about earlier, saying that Four Eyes was a bad trait, and this one is also a bad trait, but more people were questioning why this one is necessarily bad, or why I said it was bad, because it sounds pretty decent on paper, or it can sound okay on paper. This is Trigger Discipline. Trigger Discipline is a trait that's in the base game. You don't need DLCs for it or anything like that. And the benefit of taking Trigger Discipline is that you get 20% more accuracy with guns and energy weapons. Don't know why this doesn't include explosives too, but I guess those two are the only ones. The penalties to this though are that now your rate of fire is 20% slower with guns and energy weapons, and it also takes 20% more action points in order for you to use these weapons. Now there is another trait in the game that's called Fast Shot, which I said was much better than this one, and it makes it so your gun is less accurate, but you get a higher rate of fire and you get reduced action point cost on all of your weapons. Now a lot of people kind of understood why that one would be good if you're going with a VATS build, which is true. If you're going with a VATS build, it makes more sense to go with the option that makes it so your VATS takes less, because then you can spam VATS more often, especially for certain weapons like All-American, which is really, really good in VATS. But more people kind of questioned as to why Trigger Discipline is particularly bad even outside of a VATS build, because 20% more accuracy for things like sniper rifles seems really good. And at first glance, it does, but when you actually run calculations on this, and that's kind of all that this trait boils down to, is just the calculations, 20% more accuracy actually doesn't help sniper rifles really that much at all. Most sniper rifles in the game, and I did a quick check of this beforehand, like the sniper rifle, the hunting rifle, 50 cal, rat slayer, even the varmint rifle, things like that do have somewhat of a slow rate of fire, have a scope on them, or you can put a scope on them, and can hit things at long range, already have extremely high amounts of accuracy. In most cases, it was 0.02 of a spread on any of those weapons. That was at the highest end. At the lowest end, it was usually 0.01. So you only have a 1% deviation on your shot to a 2% deviation on your shot. Adding another 20% to that doesn't actually up it to something like 21 or 22. Because this is a percentage, it makes it so that only that 0.01 of a deviation goes up by 20%, so it's slightly less accurate, but it's still going to be extremely accurate, and will still likely hit in the same area. There's not going to be a whole lot of deviation on any of these bullets from any of these guns, so the increased accuracy doesn't really help them. On top of that, the penalty actually hurts them more, because these weapons tend to have really high AP costs if you want to be using them in VATS, so you get less shots usually that you could otherwise have. That's not always a huge deal, because you could go with high amounts of agility, or you could go with other perks that lower the action point cost, like Math Wrath or something like that. So there is ways to get around that there, but the rate of fire can really hurt these weapons. With the 50 cal already shooting as slow as it does, making it 20% slower, you do feel that. And funny enough, this one actually helps more with fully automatic weapons that don't have very good spread. This helps more with submachine guns and things like the assault carbine. Weapons that usually you don't really care too much about accuracy, because you're never really going to be trying to snipe things with a submachine gun, or maybe you will, I don't know what you do, but at least for me, I usually don't try to snipe things with a submachine gun. Usually I'm just here to spray something at very close range with it until it's dead. And in that case, then Trigger Discipline can actually be pretty good, because it makes it so your spread is even tighter. This also works for shotguns. I'm not entirely sure how much this affects the spread on regular shots like buckshot. It does help with slugs, I am aware of that, although slugs do make your shotgun quite a bit more accurate, so this one also isn't really necessary, but it is an option that you could take. And I think that kind of covers everything as to why Trigger Discipline is not that great, at least for a sniper build. It can be for a spray and pray build, because it just makes it so the submachine guns are more accurate. Making a more accurate sniper rifle just isn't really worth it. Your sniper rifles are already extremely accurate, and going with something like Fast Shot would actually help them, because them getting a little bit less accurate doesn't really matter. There is one other thing that I should mention about Trigger Discipline that's kind of weird. Well, it's not really weird, but it's something that people don't always think about. If you take Trigger Discipline and Fast Shot, you actually don't get a bonus from this. You actually get a penalty. Even though they're both 20%, these are both percentages of one another, and if you actively take this, your weapon will shoot slower, and you will cost more AP in order to use it in VATS. So you end up becoming 4% less accurate and have 4% more cost towards your action points. I don't know if those numbers will really affect anything, but just don't take both of these traits at the same time. Pick something else. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching it. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.